Welcome back, viewers. And of course, I promised I would be in the company of two gentlemen, and they are Dwight Burris and Dr. Ellis Burris. Yes, we have the Burris family flanking me this morning, and we are going to have a conversation about the Baha'i faith, what is coming up significant for that faith, that community. And I want to welcome you, Dwight, and of course, Dr. Ellis Burris. Welcome to Good Morning Tobago. You are on GMT this morning.
Oh, thank you very much for your invitation, and I'm very happy here to share with you as much as possible with respect to the Baha'i faith and the interfaith service that is to take place on Sunday, 18.
And before we go into the interfaith service, I want for our viewers, because some people are still not familiar with the Baha'i faith, and I want you just to share what is the Baha'i faith, what are some of your fundamental principles of that faith, and a little bit about the community in Tobago.
Okay. The Baha'i faith is generally a very simple religion, if you should take it from that perspective.
Right.
And also because from people along at the grassroots right up to those who are elite, supposed to understand God when he sends a message to mankind.
Right.
And therefore, the simplicity that exists within it is practically related to the three fundamental principles that govern the Baha'i faith. That God is one. There is only one God, and all the religions of the world know this, that there is only one God that we all pray to. And the other principle is religion is one. That religion is one because it comes from one and the same God.
Right.
So therefore, the oneness of God and the oneness of religion are fundamental principles that govern the Baha'i faith. And that mankind is one. We know that we all have innate qualities and virtues which we're supposed to elevate as much as possible. So it's against that background that mankind is one, religion is one, and God is one. Those are the four fundamental principles that govern the Baha'i faith.
Right.
So against that background, I would just ask Dwight to come in to add whatsoever he may wish to add.
Go right ahead, Dwight.
Again, just thank you for having us.
Sure.
So just to piggyback on what Dr. Burris said, other animating features of the Baha'i faith will include things like the independent investigation of truth. So the understanding is that, we all grew up in families,
yes,
right? We basically pattern the religion of our forebears, all right? And whilst that is good, it is equally important that when we come out of age of maturity, but in the Baha'i faith it's set at 15, but at some point in time, it's upon that individual, to go beyond, read widely and investigate for themselves, interrogate religion, spirituality for themselves, and make a decision based upon that, right? And not just, banking upon the religion that their forebears taught.
And just be led.
Right? Another animating principle of the Baha'i faith, we believe in things like, and focus on things like the universal education of children, right? The equality of men and women. We see backbiting as a grievous sin. Right? We have fasting as an integral part, one of the pillars of the faith.
Okay.
That too. Prayer is one, daily prayer, and we have obligatory prayers, but as the name implies, prayers that must be said on a daily basis. All right. Fasting period, 19 days each year between in the month of March.
Okay, I was just about to ask what time period.
March 2nd to March.
Okay, 19 days.
Yeah.
Okay.
19.
Not to be too long-winded, right? The the purpose of the Baha'i faith, the message of the Baha'i faith is one of unity. Right? And when you take what I just said, along with what Uncle introduced with, right? We understand these to be like a blueprint to achieving this unity. So not just mouthpiece in unity, but actual, if we practice these things, as individuals personally, it extends to our families, right? And in our communities by and large, we think we can have a better idea what that looks like. And that has been the mission of the prophet founder of the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, and what he has taught and what we follow.
Right, now, gentlemen.
I just want to add a little bit.
Go ahead.
Saying that, that's very, very, very succinct as stated by Dwight. And the fact remains, because we have those three principles and added to what Dwight has put on as the other primary principles that relate to the development of the cause, we have the processes to achieve world peace.
Right.
We're not doing this lightly or slightly, and Baha'i faith is an international religion, and the fundamental purpose of all these principles that underlie the faith is to bring about world peace.
Right.
And mankind is working towards that. Exactly. Turmoil in Tobago, turmoil in the world, everywhere. Because this is how God, this is how God knew it would have happened. And that is the reason why He sent the Baha'i faith, that world peace could be achieved.
Right. And we continue to talk about the Baha'i faith because I know we have the Interfaith service, and I want our viewers to have this opportunity to learn more about this faith and understand the significance and the importance of having the interfaith service. Now, Dr. Burris, you are also the president of the Interreligious Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, yes?
I agree.
This is the first time we have someone from Tobago sitting as president.
Sure, that's correct.
And that's an accomplishment. So congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, continue repping this beautiful small island. We're talking about the Baha'i faith. You mentioned that it's an international faith. How did it get to Tobago? Because I know in your community as well, and special anniversary is coming up. So it had to start somewhere with someone. Tell us a little about that.
Well, as a matter of fact, there are phases of development and teaching programs that have set out from in the days of the Prophet, and also the guardian of the faith was Shughi Effendi, and now the Universal House of Justice, which is the supreme body of the Baha'i faith.
Right.
So there are phases of expansion of the cause that have been set out. And during that phase of the expansion, I think Trinidad and Tobago was under Venezuela, where we had that relationship to enable people from Venezuela or Baha'is from Venezuela to come to Trinidad and Tobago to teach. And therefore, this gentleman, Dr. Peter McLaren, came from Venezuela to Tobago with the assistance of another Baha'i he's from Tobago, but he joined the Baha'i faith in Trinidad. His name was Mr. Anton Moore, who is actually related to my wife, because my wife is down probably from the Moore family, Charlottesville. So in that instant, they went to Charlottesville to see whether they could find Baha'is there. The search was not successful. Then they went to Mason Hall to find Baha'is, to find persons who would be interested in the faith. They were unsuccessful. Then Dr. McLaren asked Mr. Moore, can you find a place, get a village that is hard to find, so we can able to get some or find some person who would be interested in the faith? And it's there they went to Palatuvere, and probably if the Palatuvere is probably translated, I think it's a place that is hard to find. Right? So because on the seafront, you can pass Palatuvere easily without seeing it, except you look back into the village itself. Right? So it's against that background that they went to Palatuvere, and the conversation started over drinking of coconut water. How my sister got on the beach is because I got an injury from a nail on a raft. And I went to the doctor that they said they would not see her, but see children. So I had to go back for my mother. But my mother was preparing lunch and she couldn't leave. So she asked my sister to come with me. So my sister came with me and we went on. After I was treated by the doctor, we were on the beach having a little drink of coconut water. So a conversation started up. And Dr. McLaren asked her, how many races of people are there? And then she started white and black and Indian, and as the case may be. And then Dr. McLaren said, no, there's only one race, the human race. So that was the kicking point from where the entire thing started blossoming into what it is today.
Excellent. Quite interesting. I'm in school, viewers. I'm in school this morning. Quite interesting. What anniversary is the Baha'i faith in Tobago celebrating this year?
55 years of existence on the island. At least I was there when my sister Sheila Burris signed the card as a Baha'i, declaring herself as a Baha'i. And 1 year after, which is, I became a member also. So I'm a member 54 years now.
54 years.
54 years of membership. Well, at least The 55 years I could take it because I was there.
You were there when the coconut water was
served.
Yes, and the conversation started.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, what is the membership like on the island?
We have more than 200 active Baha'is, but it was more. It is more. But those who are inactive, we just have them on the list.
Right.
But the active ones, we could find approximately 200, more than 200
Excellent.
that are active.
And in celebration of this 55 years, tell us what's happening this weekend.
Okay, I would allow Dwight to come in at this point to state what is happening.
So tell us, Dwight, how are we celebrating this weekend?
All right, so we have 2 activities to round off the celebrations this weekend, right? So tomorrow evening at Calder Hall Community Center, we have a banquet. Starts at 5:30, right? As a small program, but it's an invitation to all the Baha'i brethren and Sitchin, and even our friends, just to come and have a meal with us. Right? On Sunday, that's the big one. That's the Interfaith service. All right?
So before you get to the Interfaith service, so this banquet is tomorrow at 5:30. Is it a ticketed event? Is it that you have to have, something to get in? Or can I say, oh, I remember talking to the Burrises. Let me just stop by Calder Hall tomorrow,
Yes, it's a ticket.
That's a nice question.
It's a ticketed event.
Yes.
Tickets are $150.
Right.
I think all of Tobago has Dr. Burris's number. They could contact him for tickets.
705-9846.
Okay. Say it again for me, Dr. Burris.
705-9846.
Right, very well.
Right. And
150 for a banquet?
150 for a
Well,
banquet.
that is quite a price. I mean, there's no excuse not to go, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and of course to enjoy good company.
Nice.
We cater for the poor and for the rich.
Right. Good, excellent. So now, after that gala event, and of course I expecting with a name with banquet, it's a formal affair, yes?
Yeah.
Right, and we go to Sunday. So tell us what's happening Sunday.
Right. So Sunday we are at Shore Park Cultural Complex. Right. We're asking persons to be seated. So that's our open affair. All of Tobago is invited.
Right.
Right. We're asking persons to be seated from 9:45. We want a 10 a.m. prompt start. And we go until 12. We definitely want to hold to the 12 cutoff time.
Yes.
As there's best village activities in the afternoon.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
so we really want to keep
Right,
that time.
keep the timing.
Yeah.
And who is invited to this? Because it's an interfaith service, so we're not talking about just Baha'is. So tell us about
The
that.
whole of Tobago is invited. The point is we have a whole cross section of the religions that exist on the island.
Right.
We have Buddhists here, we have Muslims, we have Hindus, we have Christians, which is the largest one, and then we have although Baptist falls on a Christian, they have mushroom out of our ancestral religion.
Yes.
So therefore, we have special respect for them because, I respect my ancestors.
Yes.
Right? And therefore, I have special respect for the Baptists.
Yes.
I'm not saying that this is that thing, but I have respect for them because they're right.
Yes.
So, and that's the mix of people who we will have presenting prayers, and we're not praying just because of prayer's sake.
Right.
We're praying in reality, in spirit and in truth,
Right.
to ensure that there's a change in the country, there's a change in the world, as the case may be. But it is important that it is not a show to say, well, listen, we just joining people to pray.
Right.
We want the reality to be in spirit and in truth that people are praying, because Baha'u'llah tells us 1 hour of reflection and prayer is preferred than 75 years or 70 years of pious worship.
Right.
Right? Yes. So therefore, we want to do this 2 hours that we have in spirit and in truth.
Right.
So we could cover 75 years of 70 years of pious worship.
And the theme for Sunday's interfaith service, a moment of prayer and reflection. So in addition to, of course, taking this prayer seriously and not just lip service, as we say, what do you hope to accomplish?
Well, this will spark, what the power of the Holy Spirit has. It can spark changes that we can't see with our naked eye.
True.
So we expect that it will have a direct impact on the lives of those who interface with it, and that they will be able to start a process where love, which is the secret of this age, will override the evil or hatred that exists among people. Because as a matter of fact, we praying and we working towards to world peace. If we working towards world peace in spirit and in truth, and harass humanity must come to its senses and realize that we are going down a path that is not good. Let us pull ourselves back and go forward.
Right.
In a more spiritual and moral direction.
Right. So we have all the faiths, if I can say, all the faiths being represented on Sunday, and of course the Baha'i. And I want you to correct me because I said I'm in school, I'm learning. Do I say the Baha'i community? Do I say Baha'i faith?
It works just as you say. You could say the whole Baha'i community or the Baha'i faith because it's partly the same.
Right. So the Baha'i community is celebrating 55 years, and that's quite an accomplishment. To have a group of people sharing that same faith and developing and growing together, and also sharing their knowledge with others. And I think it's always significant for us to celebrate each other, because I always say Tobago is small. So if rain falls on my neighbor's house, it's falling on mine too. Correct. To celebrate. Now we know, again, let me just recap. So tomorrow evening at 5:30 is the gala banquet at Calder Hall. That is a ticketed event. So if you are interested, of course, there are a few tickets left. Call Dr. Burris. As Dwight said, everybody should have Dr. Burris's number.
You can take my number as well.
Right, and Dwight, please
just
share your
some
number.
Burden off him, right?
Exactly.
464-6037.
All right, and repeat it again for us.
Yes. 464-6037.
Right, and of course, Sunday morning, that event is open to all of Tobago. You don't have to worry about having to pay for any tickets. Just come, be prepared to worship, be prepared to pray earnestly, earnestly, and allow the Holy Spirit to transform. And I want to wish you and your community, of course, congratulations on your 55 years. And I really want to thank you for sharing with us, because it is one of the religions that it's not, the one or two on the census, and I think people are always curious. Every time I go to, when the Indian Arrival Day is celebrated, I know Dr. Burris will bring remarks. I always hear and I see him when you go other religious, functions. And I've always been curious, how did the Baha'i faith start in Tobago? And I found out this morning. So thank you so much.
I just want to thank you because I want to add the fact that, I go to those religions because it's not because I'm going just to on a surface value to say I'm trying to please the members of that. I'm going there because I know those religions come from God.
Right.
And there's a spiritual connection between them and the Baha'i faith. So therefore, I'm doing again that in spirit and in truth, because I do respect the Hindus. They are the oldest religious organization on the planet. 5,000 years they exist. Right. And then you have many people feel that the world exists or started with Christianity. It didn't.
Right.
Christ came in, only 2,000 years ago, but the Hindus were here 5,000 years ago.
Right.
So therefore, we have to show respect that God was good then and he's still good now. And that's part of the reason why I take part in spirit and in truth, bring greetings. I go to the Muslims when Mr. Imam Kamil Ali has his session on Eid. I'm there. I bring greetings there also. And anybody the Baptists have Baptist Liberation Day, I'm also.
Right. Yes.
So I and then I have much more respect again for my ancestral arrangement, because I was in Ghana earlier this year and I see what happened.
Right.
And really took me a while before I could calm down and to understand what has happened and to console myself, because
to deal with it emotionally and otherwise,
it makes me uncomfortable.
Right. Understand.
But I'm saying, as a Baha'i, we have to look at walk away from the past and continue in a light, because if you don't forgive and forget, you will be stuck in the past.
Trapped.
And therefore the trappings, Baha'is try to avoid those traps, and we go forward because we have to unite. We have to bring world peace on this planet.
And we have to start at home. And we have to start at home.
Exactly. And that is the main process why the Baha'i faith is here on earth, to change the dynamics from war to peace,
Right.
world peace.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, viewers. And this is a pleasant note to end on this Friday morning. All right, let us remember it's within all of us, and whatever religion you belong to, wherever your faith lies, it's important to feed that part of our lives and to allow it to grow, and not just, as Dr. Burris said, you're just doing it because, but let it have some sort of transforming impact on our lives so that we can do what we are called to do in this life. So thank you, viewers. It is Friday. Be safe, whatever your weekend plans are. Remember, you can be at Shore Park for 9:45 a.m. on Sunday morning and be a part of this very important interfaith service. Thank you for staying with us, and we will continue next week, Monday. So have a fabulous weekend, and thank you for joining us on GMT.
Thank you.
Thank you.